Hello, guys, and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the first episode of the Zac Jones Podcast. What a first guest we've got. I'd like to welcome James Morrell to the first episode of the Zac Jones Podcast. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. I'm gassed as well. I get to be the first guest on your podcast, bro.
Ah, my man, you're a good guy. Well, James Morrell is a TikTok creator and he has 473,000 followers on there. How does that feel, man?
I mean, it's mad. It is mad to think that, like, because in my head, I always think about it as a person. Like, each one of them is a person.
Yeah.
And, like, my whole life, I've been trying to get somewhere with my creativity and my creative endeavors. And so it's kind of surreal sometimes. And it's also really nice as well. And also, like, uh, um, yeah, it's just sometimes I pinch myself in it. Sometimes I'm still like, but I feel very blessed.
Yeah, for sure. So, my man, I know you created a lot of content, but over the past year and a half, maybe, it's been somewhat dominated by the fact that you dealt with Crohn's disease and also alopecia. Now, we're going to get into a bit of that. I know you probably talk about it all day, every day, but just so my subscribers know, what is Crohn's disease?
So, bit of backstory. In February 2022, I got really unwell and I realised I couldn't go to the toilet for a little while. When I say a little while, I mean around 9 days. And so I ended up going to the hospital. Long story short, in March, I had a colonoscopy and it was confirmed for Crohn's. And Crohn's disease is an autoimmune condition and it causes inflammation in your digestive tract. So, towards my small bowel, I've got quite a bit of a gnarly amount of inflation there when it flares up. But also, like, not only that, there's a myriad of symptoms that one experiences with Crohn's. For example, for me, I suffer with joint pain, fatigue, mental fog, stomach cramps to say the least, and issues going to the toilet. The majority of people with Crohn's, actually, or the more common symptom with Crohn's, is that they can't control their bowels, so they have to be near a toilet at all times. Whereas I'm more at the opposite end. Sometimes I wish I kind of had it that way because I'll be bunged up for like 4 or 5 days at a time, and it's not a fun experience. And so I battled that from February 2022. And yeah, it's been a bit of an interesting ride, really.
Okay, man. And I didn't know that alopecia could be linked with Crohn's disease.
So the reason why, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. The reason why it's linked is because alopecia is two things. One, it's just another word for hair loss, and two, it's an autoimmune condition. So I've got alopecia areata, which thankfully can come and go. But sometimes when you get diagnosed with one autoimmune condition, you're probably going to get another one as well. It's just like, and then it can snowball a little bit, you know?
That's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was going through your mind at the time where you started dealing with alopecia, you started losing your hair?
Bro, with the alopecia, that like with my Crohn's disease diagnosis, it kind of elevated my already victim complex that was already there, and so it took my victim complex to another level, and I completely lost myself within what I thought it was rather than experiencing what it really was. And so what was going through my head, I felt really isolated, I felt really alone, and I also got into a relationship at the same time. Like, literally within the first couple of weeks of me meeting my ex-partner, I was in the hospital, and we were dealing with that pretty much right from the start. And so that didn't set me up for sort of a good introduction into a new relationship. But she did her absolute best by me, and even though I had a partner, well, she was really new, so it wasn't like I had, and all my family were in Peterborough and I was in London, so I felt really alone, and I felt really angry and insecure as well. And I developed like a health anxiety as well. And so, like, I'd look at my knuckles, and if they were a little bit red, I'd be freaking out thinking I've got arthritis. Because also another, like I said about the joint pain I experienced, another autoimmune condition is called rheumatoid arthritis, and the chances of you getting that is fairly high when you've already got Crohn's. And I can already identify the symptoms within me. Like, for example, when I was at the gym yesterday, just like, holding bars, and my fingers, like, I have to really try to extend them to bring them out straight. I'm 28 years old, for Christ's sake, like. So a lot was going through my head. I didn't know what was next. I got really unwell. I lost 10 kilos in 2 weeks. Couldn't eat anything. but since then, like, it's been okay and manageable. I've been on and off of medication. Obviously, I lost all of my hair,
Yeah.
and that's when shit hit the fan for me mentally. Like,
How long was it from when you knew you had Crohn's disease and you were suffering with that, going to the toilet, to then you starting to lose your hair?
it was basically a year. So like I said, February 2022 was when I had a verbal diagnosis of Crohn's. So upon a scan and some physical examinations, and then that was confirmed when I had the colonoscopy when they could see inside me. And then a year later, in December time, so 2022 December time, more or less a year later, I noticed I shaved a chunk out of my beard,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh shit, that's annoying. But it's fine because I had long hair and I could cover it. And then I noticed around January time that gap went from that to that. It took
Yeah.
off like a quarter of my beard, and then yeah, when all the patches started turning up and my hair was coming out in clumps, bro, I lost my mind. I lost myself. I can't explain it, bro.
Yeah.
When I think back to that period, I seriously do not identify with myself at all. I completely lost myself, and then again, I got even more angry at the world, and I projected onto other people even more how I was feeling, and then I got to a point where it was fucking. I was definitely suicidal, and I sat in my car one day. I had all my stuff in the back of my car because my relationship came to an end, and I moved out of my flat in Manchester, came straight back to my mum's house. I had all my stuff in the back of my car. I didn't really feel like anyone understood or could help.
Yeah.
So I sat in my car and I was upset, and I was like, I'm gonna take my car and I'm just gonna whip it into something that's doesn't involve anyone else. But before I did that, I picked up my phone. I was like, I'm just gonna ask TikTok for help, and it was the best thing for me. I know that sounds a bit bleak and morbid, but the whole point of that is to really emphasize how bleak and morbid it was, and the fact I stuck around regardless, and I asked for help, and I'm in the best place ever
No,
now.
man, I feel honored for you to share that experience with me. That is,
Thanks, mate.
I completely envisioned what you went through there, and man, yeah.
It's a lot of people don't really necessarily know how to take it now. But I can talk about it. I mean, I was pretty open with it when it was happening because I knew I had to be. Because at the same time of like posting on social media, in hindsight, I should have took a break, but I'm glad I didn't
Yeah.
for two reasons. One, I recorded everything in real time,
Yeah.
and through that, I showed a real side to life, identified. So many people identified with the content I was posting, and it
Yeah.
helped alleviate some of the stress that they were going through in a sense. And so, and then
Yeah.
the second one was also just to have a whole documentation of if I was to recover, what it was like from the moment it
Yeah.
started to all the way through to recovery. Because throughout that period, I raised a lot of money for charity as well. I did when I shaved
Amazing,
my
bro.
head,
That's
and
amazing.
like it's been like there's been some like events that have
Yeah.
been like, you know, this then this then this, and it's almost like the building blocks that I'm hoping I can sort of structure in a way that when other, especially young men, watch it,
Yeah.
can identify with the struggles and sort of realize the lesson is stick around even if it is really really shit, because you don't know when the light will appear and you don't know when it will
Yeah.
get better, but it definitely will get better.
I respect that, man. And I got to say, it's not just through this interview with yourself that I've realized you've gained somewhat of a clarity from your experience previously.
Yeah.
But during that time, I was watching you, and I was feeling bad for you because I knew you previously. You know, we've been out in London, and I knew you were a good guy. But I saw it get to you. But I just thought to myself, he's gonna get through this, and then we'll be able to look back at this journey and see how he was feeling. And it's absolutely fantastic to see where you are now, and I just know it's gonna continue to improve. But during this time, when you were speaking your heart, when you were telling your TikTok basically how you felt, losing your hair, dealing with this Crohn's disease and this alopecia, there were a lot of positive comments and you've helped a lot of people. At the same time, you had the odd person who said to you, I went bald when I was 18. Get over it. Stop crying. Stop whinging. How did you feel at the time when reading them comments?
Two minds.
Yeah.
Firstly, during that period when I was in the thick of it, my only comfort was social media. So, and I was unemployed as well for a short
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
so I was using it all the time, and it was my sense of self. which is nuts, by the way. I based my self-worth essentially how I viewed myself and what I thought other people thought I was like, and it's a fucking
Mm-hmm.
whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was seeing the bad comments, then it would really affect me,
Yeah.
like to a point where it was like everything to me, and I couldn't believe that these people weren't understanding. But now, halfway through that, I kind of chipped away at myself and was like, get over yourself. Like, it's very narcissistic of you to base your entire self-worth on the opinion of others. And throughout my whole life I've identified with sort of needing validation and confirmation per se. I guess that just comes down to like having the lack of a father figure in my life, and I've
Understood.
identified that along this period. And so now when I see those comments, one, I understand where it comes from. You know, you've got a grown man crying on social media, which again could be seen in two different ways. Oh, he's being honest and he's just showing, or it could be like, oh, he needs attention and he needs to be validated. And I can completely understand where it comes from. And a lot of those guys actually, especially when the Lad Bible article came out on Instagram, most of those guys are all military men, and so
Mm-hmm.
they've been drilled in them. And I say this, it's obviously a massive generalization.
Yeah.
Like, they've obviously been drilled in them that expressing any kind of emotion at anything that happens to them is bad, so don't do it. So I can kind of separate nowadays. Not a single negative comment irks me the wrong way. I'm a
Yeah.
little bit more social media trained now, so
Yeah.
when I see those comments, I can kind of either put it down to two things. One, just got um a lack of perspective, and two, they're just projecting. And so it doesn't, at the time it really bothered me, but nowadays, like, I barely use my social media in the way that I used it before, and which is such a good thing because I literally, it was my whole life. And again, that goes on to addiction as well.
Yeah. Nah,
Like,
I struggle with that myself, you know, and especially when you're making content, you're trying to think of what you got to do next to get a little somewhat of an
inspiration.
audience. Yeah.
Because the thing is, when you're using it as a user and a creator, you're using it as you know, just a general escape from reality for a bit, video after
Yeah.
video, meme after meme, and then you're also using it to gather intelligence and like inspiration as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's almost like our usage is double. I know for me, sometimes when I'm going for a bit of a creative drop, I'll just binge TikTok for a little while with Instagram and sort of
Yeah.
try and get some ideas, and then you know, put together my own sort of idea from it all.
I find myself binging TikTok quite a bit.
Mm,
And I try and make excuses for myself, like, oh, I'm working, but no, I can't tend to do that.
mm,
Especially right now, I just need to focus. And
mm.
what a question to you? Was there a point you reached that you realized, hey, I'm losing my hair. I'm gonna continue to lose it. It's gonna go, and I'm okay with that.
I think deep down I must have had a real fucking trust in my genetics,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
really didn't think it was coming back, and I
really.
really and I didn't come I didn't find peace with that. I don't think I don't think and do you know what, I've met so many beautiful people who have also had battles with alopecia, and as much as, you know, the people that I've spoken to, you know, get on with their life, it is always there. And I was, you know, even at the back of my head now, I've still got a couple of patches. And at any
Yeah,
point, this is just not guaranteed.
yeah,
And so I've accepted the fact that it could happen again, but I've not accepted the fact that I'm okay with it, because I'm not, because, you know, and
yeah,
I got a lot of backlash for this. A lot of people saying, "Oh, it's just hair." It's my fucking identity, all right? And I'll say that with my chest. It's the same with your identity, you know?
yeah.
It so many men go through male pattern baldness and go off to Turkey and get a hair transplant, and that's all okay, you know,
Completely.
after, you know, there's stigmas attached to that and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
there's also so many men that go through battles silently about it and then
Uh-huh.
go off and sit, like, I had a mate who went off to Turkey and didn't tell any of us that he was doing it. You know,
Exactly.
it's a real issue that I'm just talking about, and I'm just trying to raise awareness for and break stigmas, so that when we all go through it eventually, if we do lose our hair, we'll be a little less shit than it could have been, you know, because it's fucking
Mm.
shit.
Yeah. Well, man, you know what? It's been good for me to see your redemption because I saw you at the lowest point, and now I'd say overall you appear to be quite happy in general. And like I said before, you've gained a lot of clarity. You've
Mm,
gained a lot of perspective from what you've been through, from where you're at to where you are now. So, my man, recently you went through a massive transformation. A 3-month transfer. How much was it? 3 months?
It was around 3 months. The progress that I posted on my Instagram,
Insane.
I think it's still up. That was probably just under a 3-month transformation. But basically, I just, you know, it's typical. Go for a breakup, get in the gym. You know, I didn't train when I was in my relationship at all, really.
Yeah.
Firstly, because I was like obsessed with the fact that I was a victim and I couldn't because I had Crohn's, which is a load of bollocks. And I just couldn't be bothered. You know, you get comfortable and you don't have to sort of think you have to impress anyone. And so I didn't train for a year and a half. And so obviously I had no shoulders, no arms. My chest was underdeveloped. It was just 2 little dots for nipples, you know. And so I went from, I think, in my 70s in terms of kilos, upwards of 80, 85 kilo. I mean, I weighed myself yesterday at the gym and I said 89, but that was at the end of the day.
Congrats.
So I've put on a lot of size, which is a lot of it's fat as well. But the idea for the winter time is to get up to the size of a bear, hibernate, and then cut down for the summer. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, the thing is, man, when you look at yourself 3 or 4 months before, and there's a clear difference. So, kudos to you.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. To be fair, it's given me purpose, you know, and and also the physical progress that you make and see motivates you to continue and do more and be more, you know.
What was your daily routine like during this period?
So my daily routine, so I'm very routine now. So I wake up in the morning. First thing I put into my body is either a big glass of water or a Berocca. I have a Berocca.
I've been meaning to ask you this. Sorry, bro, to cut you off. What is a Berocca?
Berocca is, I'll just get one for you.
Go for it, my man. I hope you're enjoying the first podcast, by the way, guys.
Berocca is it's a vitamin and minerals, dissolvable vitamin and mineral tab that you put in water, and it's water soluble as well. So you can start your day off with it, and your body will absorb all the nutrients that it needs. Essentially, this for me is exactly what I need to start the day before a coffee.
Makes sense.
Because I've been a barista for 10 years, I'm like obsessed with coffee, and I have to have one every day, at least one. You know, I'm having a pot a day at the minute. You're a Red Bull guy.
Yeah.
Nice. Mate, Red Bull is life-giving nectar, I tell you.
Yeah, completely, my man.
I dissolve one of these in water every morning. I have that. And then so I'll be eating like I wasn't strict on my diet. I originally was when I first started training. I wasn't eating much because I was also very anxious with my hair and breakup and don't know what my life was. So I was eating 1 meal a day, and it was usually like 5 scrambled eggs and just about 250 to 500 grams of beef mince, and I would just be able to stomach that. And that's what I think allowed me to put on some lean muscle whilst I shredded some fat off. But then the real size started when probably be about 5 or 6 eggs. It's not really beautiful to describe, really. A steak,
cool, man.
microwave rice and tuna. But also lots of shit as well. Like in the evenings especially, I'll just eat loads of crap and just to bump up the calories. But I'd always make sure that my protein was high. You know, so essentially, you know, I don't like using clean or dirty bulk because what it really is, does that mean? But like basically a dirty bulk. But I'd be kind of like I'd be Dr. Jekyll during the day and then Mr. Hyde during the evening when it comes to food. I'd just binge in the evening a little bit.
You know what, man? I'm gonna disappoint you as you're an actor. I've never watched Jekyll and Hyde.
That's fine, mate. To be fair, I did the play 2 years ago. We did an original version of the play. I've never seen, the only iteration of Jekyll and Hyde I'd ever seen was in Van Helsing, the film with Hugh Jackman. But you're probably annoying more readers than actors, to be fair, because it's a famous novel. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, wait until they hear I haven't ever saw a full Harry Potter film.
You've never seen a Harry Potter film?
I need to. I respect it. I believe it's good. No Lord of the Rings. It was never put on whilst I was a child, and I never got around to it. It's crazy.
Oh, mate, you've got a whole. Wait, did you say you've not seen the Lord of the Rings either?
Never. Oh, that looks sick.
You've got two universes that you get to watch for the first time. I don't think you realise how cool that is.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'll ever get around to it, lad.
You know what? Is it attention span?
Perhaps my attention span is getting worse and worse, to be honest.
Mine's awful. I can barely watch a film, man.
Yeah. It's tough, man. But you know, we'll get through that.
Yeah, eventually.
When did you notice your hair starting to come back, bro?
Probably July time. But July, June, July, August, July, August. So June, I had like a couple of strands of hair and I had nothing left.
Yeah, I remember.
Uh,
You
maybe,
were
maybe
owning it though, bro. You're making
yeah,
Charles Bronson memes. You
yeah.
know.
But all underneath, like underneath, I was fucking miserable and lost,
Mm,
and I was desperate to hold on to my relevance. And through that,
yeah.
I posted so much crap that in
Mm,
hindsight, I should have had a rest and I should have just come away. But that's the addictive side of this social media thing, which also I've recognized as well from like therapy and stuff, is like it's a real addiction and you lose yourself within addiction. You fucking ruin relationships, friendships, all of it through addiction, regardless of it's food, binge eating, phones, drugs, alcohol, whatever.
yep.
And I
Dealing with
really,
that now, my man.
you are
I've been dealing with that now, my man. Yeah.
with the addiction side of things.
Yeah, just like I moved out here towards the Lake District to start making TikToks and trying to do that full time.
Yeah.
And the last couple of days, I haven't been doing so well, just the views. Because the previous month was pretty good. So I was like, oh yeah, let's go and try and focus and make it full time. And then
Yeah.
last couple of days they've not been doing as well. Hello, and we're back. I can edit that out. I know what I'm doing. But where was
Good
I?
man. So you were saying that you were like, why have I come out of here? Why have I come out here? What is it that I want to achieve? Who do I want to become internally?
Oh yeah,
And
just me,
losing
man.
yourself.
Yeah, I had a vision of who I was trying to become and how I was trying to portray myself, and then just with one day not quite going to plan, I started thinking about, oh, if I reply to this comment, then this will get a good load of views. But then you know what? I'll end up a different person in 6 months from now because I'm just trying to focus on what's most relevant rather than to focus on my actual vision.
And you
Yeah.
know what? I learned that lesson as well. It's like, who am I trying to be for who? Why am I only obsessing over what I think is going to do well?
Yeah.
You know, that's the opposite. You know, the reason why there's longevity in certain people's content is because they're doing it because they really love to do it and they're just making what they want to make. And I think there's a guy actually that I watched not too long ago, and he's like talking about how he makes music or art for himself now, and rather than like trying to paint the next best thing that he thinks is going to sell loads of and make loads of money. You know, it's once you start doing it for yourself, it's a different kind of outcome. And I think I learnt that lesson as well. Like, you know, you can't sit there and take every comment personally because it's
Yeah.
not really, no one cares. They'll scroll on and forget you in 2 seconds. You know, it's not all about you, you know, but what you do is should be everything you want to do because it will have a nice outcome regardless. If you don't become relevant and get loads of views and make loads of money, you're still kind of happy because you're doing what you love.
You're true to yourself, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
completely.
And you
And we
know what?
both need, yeah.
Oh, sorry, mate. Most of my anxiety that it comes from inside is because consciously throughout that period, I knew that I was pretending to be someone I wasn't because I wasn't okay at that time. I should have come
Yeah,
away.
pretending, oh, this is
Yeah.
a joke, you know?
And then
Yeah.
I lose, and you lose yourself even more, and you're riddled with anxiety and paranoia that the truth is going to come out, like, or you know what, or like you're going to crack, and people are going to see the real flawed version of you. And so I realized over time that if I just am disgustingly myself and I just post things I want to post and make,
Yeah.
then it'll be a good, and the outcome will be positive, regardless if I make loads of money or not. Because you know I've just
Mm,
started this full-time job. It's the furthest thing from creative, you know,
yeah.
but it's given me responsibility, structure, routine, and community as well.
Is that something you keep in personal?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, that's completely understood, my man. So yeah, you feel like you benefit from the routine.
without a doubt, mate. Because when I was just doing this full time and I had loads of time on my hands,
Yeah.
I realised I was just binge watching TikTok and doing things I shouldn't be doing. You
I
know.
respect your honesty, brother. I
I'm being
respect your
serious.
honesty.
I'm being so serious,
Yeah,
man. Jumped off and did this full time, I struggled more than I am now doing it with a full time job. But
yeah,
that's not the same for everyone, you know.
yeah,
Um, it's what I've learned is I need to find a balance. I can't have all of one thing and none of everything else. I need to have little bits of everything in order for me to be complete,
yeah.
I suppose.
No, yeah, completely understand. So my next question to you is: we talked about the negative comments you got during this time where you were losing your hair. You also had, I was surprised to see it myself, a lot of people in the same boat as you. A lot of people who are either dealing with Crohn's disease, other autoimmune. Is that correct? Autoimmune diseases. Is that
Yep.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or and or alopecia. A lot of people losing their hair, men and women. I saw a lot of people in your comments talking about how the fact you were speaking out help them deal with what they were going through, help them just feel like they were not alone.
Mhm.
Were you getting a lot of personal messages at this time as well from people?
Yeah, I think even still, I get loads of personal messages, and I feel so bad because it is so overwhelming. I'm one person. As much as I love using social media, I have to throw my phone away sometimes.
Yeah,
But I get so much support. It's actually disgusting. I shouldn't really complain about much. But also underneath all of that is like I get to help people, but for a little while, I was helping other people at the detriment to myself as well. So
yeah,
like when I was going through everything in real time, I weren't freaking processing my emotions. I was immediately trying to go and document it to try and help other people first. And I think that's like a little trauma. Well, I mean, through therapy, I've realized we all have different responses based on our experience. And so my trauma response is immediately to bury what I'm going through and try my best to like um project that onto someone else and try and be a savior and have this savior complex. And I realized throughout this journey as well that like I have to have boundaries for myself, especially when it comes to social media. And I have to somehow balance the how I respond to everyone because it's hard doing it individually, but I also do want to do it individually, but I also
yeah.
can't do it individually.
I
Um, but,
respect you, man. I can
but I
see that
get
you care about people deeply. What were you saying?
no, I was just saying I do just want to like I don't know because I feel like obviously in my head this is how my brain works. I don't know if I've had a life before this. I can't remember it if I did, but
Yeah,
I've only got one life, and if I can when I start realizing because I've had bad mental health my whole life, man. I've had some battles. Yeah, I
hmm,
don't mind talking about things. Like, we've all had battles and stuff, and like when I've experienced sort of normal things the average person will experience day to day, someone that is lucky enough to not experience bad mental health, for me it's massive. So like the idea I'm doing this boring full-time job, but I love it and I'm ecstatic because it's something so normal that I've lacked for so
yeah,
long. And also like I don't know. I just like I feel it sometimes when I've had an epiphany. I'm like, how do I get this out to everyone? Everyone needs to know this, and that leads me on to this experience that I had in June. So I've just gone through a breakup, and
yeah,
I'm at the worst point in my life. And I had a friend reach out to me who lives in Manchester, and she was like, "Look, me and my partner, uh, we have experienced a lot of." I don't know how to explain it. We take part in plant medicine essentially. So their life, they treat themselves with plant medicine, and that is essentially like mushrooms, ayahuasca, and everything else that falls under the umbrella of plant medicine, right? So I did my first mushroom trip, guided mushroom trip with them, and that experience for me was like another one of those things where it allowed me to see color again for the first time because I've got depression and I seriously see the world as black and white and grey and
yeah,
dull. And this experience for me opened my mind to a certain degree where I could see and feel color and music and after that first experience it changed everything in my brain chemistry. You know, I love music. I get visceral reactions to music now. When I watch movies I have another visceral reaction. Like I can see color, I can taste food now, and I can really enjoy like the simple things. And so when I had that experience it was another one of those moments where I was like, how do I tell everyone about it? But I had a realization where I'm like, I need to just have this for myself.
yeah.
And then that's when sort of I started introducing boundaries and stuff like with social media and learning how to not take things personally. and you know, use it as a tool rather than my fucking life.
Yeah, I respect that, man. Thank you for sharing it. So when your hair started to grow back, um, you had a lot of people who obviously had been messaging you their personal experience with hair loss, etc. Was there any survivor's guilt? I'll say of okay,
You
now
know
your
what?
hair's growing back, and you've got people who are reaching out to you. Oh, I'm dealing with that myself. I'm so pleased that you were able to help. That you're
I,
going through the same thing.
I get that, bro. I have the worst imposter syndrome, man, and I can't tell you. I went through this in real time, and now I'm at the back end of it without my hair. Sometimes I have days like everyone's gonna think you faked it. You know, you're a piece of shit. Like,
Mm,
you know the truth. Like, you didn't really look like I have all these things that like, and like, how do you think other people feel that now you've got your hair back that and they don't have theirs? Like, you're a piece of shit. You need to help. You know, you need to go and help as many people as you can because now you've got your hair back. You're very lucky. You know, so that's
mm,
survivor's guilt. Bro, even before we went on, I was just pottering about sorting out because I just got back from work. I was thinking, oh, man, because I'm about to go get my hair cut. My barber's going to
yeah,
pick me up at 7. I'm about to go
yeah,
get my hair cut, yeah? And I'm thinking, I get to go to my barber's again. You know, how do I make content that is sensitive to that? But
yeah,
also, how do I make content that celebrates the fact that I've recovered, but also
yeah,
doesn't cross the line of ha 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 ha? Because
yeah,
one, that's not at all what I'd ever want to put out there. And two, you know, like I said, I've met so many people that have this like beautiful part of them, which is their alopecia,
yeah,
that haven't had the, I don't know, the opportunity for it to come back, and they haven't been able to experience what I've experienced in such a short period of time as well. You know,
yeah.
that's why I do feel bad.
Yeah, I honestly haven't got much advice for you there because I know if I was in the same boat, I'd feel a bit like guilty for somewhat celebrating myself. And
Yeah.
what I want to tell you is you've done nothing wrong. I don't think honestly I don't think anyone's gonna think you faked it, but I can
No, I
tell
mean,
with this.
it's when I get the odd comment from people that are like, and isn't it weird how he recovered so soon? You know, all these kind of things that are trying to
Yeah,
fish. I don't get anxious about it because there's nothing to
yeah,
dig up. But it makes me feel bad because it makes me realize, holy shit, this has happened within a 6-7 month period where it's
yeah,
recovered fully. Um, and so I do feel a little bit bad, but again, that's where the boundaries thing comes in. It's like I can celebrate with an awareness of the journey and also other people that have experienced it as well.
mm.
Mm,
Thanks for sharing that, my man. Well,
sorry.
so do you ever see yourself distancing yourself from making Crohn's content or talking about your journey in the future?
Yeah, I mean, what I want to do now is I want to just get back to making funny videos, but also I
Mm,
want to be careful because what made me grow before was doing impressions of other creators. It's like, do I just go back to that, or do I make sketches? Because you know, I've been to drama school. I know how to make films. I've got an umbrella of skills underneath me. It's just I'm in the process now. 28. I'm figuring out what it is that I actually want to do that actually makes me happy. And the more I think about it, it's like using social media less actually.
I
And
respect that, bro. That's really refreshing to hear from yourself.
seriously, mate, because like when I was a little boy, I've been making videos since I was a little boy in my nan's house. She had a old phone that when you could record videos, you could
Yeah,
pause the video rather than stop it. And so when I was like around 3 or 4, I picked up her phone and I used to make little blue tack men and I used to make stop motion movies with the blue tack men. And so from the earliest memory of my entire life, like I said, I'm 28 now,
yeah,
I've been making videos. And the older I've gotten with the emergence of YouTube and then
yeah,
Vine and then TikTok and Instagram and the reason why I made videos is kind of went like this. And again, it's what's going to make loads of views, what's going to get loads of
mm,
blah blah blah. And I've just it's been toxic, you know.
yeah.
And
You
so
know what,
now like
bro?
my go on.
Sorry. I know the sketches. and stuff, they do well. And maybe you'll go back into that. But if that doesn't feel right for you, I say you set them boundaries like you've been talking about. You have a little think about it, and it will come to you what you want to make
Yeah,
content about.
do you know what I'm really enjoying? I'm really enjoying going to the gym and making fitness content, and also I'm really enjoying working on some personal brand stuff in the background as well, because I think like I've not monetized my stuff at all, and
Yeah,
I want to help people as well, you know, and also make some kind of have some longevity with what I'm doing physically, because I don't want to be doing this 9 to 5 the rest of my life, right? Obviously, it's just
yeah,
something to give me structure and purpose now, so I can work on things in my spare time rather than all my time being dictated on what I think I should be doing, and so.
respect that, bro.
I think what's next for me is probably some sketches, and some, you know, once I move out my mum's house, I'm very much in the in between. I think um, focus on my fitness still, and then try to create a community of the similar sort of people that can also help each other, you know, help keep each other accountable, and um, yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. But I think the impressions stuff, I'll probably do impressions again, but they'll be a little bit more like actual impressions rather than just ripping off other creators. And I say ripping off lightly, I've never ripped them off, but um,
Don't preach.
actual thought. Yeah, yeah. That's literally the only reason why I got any relevance. Fucking mocking a nonce.
Nah,
Um,
man, nah.
Now, if there's anyone to mock, it's definitely a nonce, and I don't have any. I don't know. That did
Say
start
it,
to feel.
bro. It's cool.
It did start to feel a bit bad. I did start to feel a bit bad after a little while. Like once it got, you know, fucking international, worldwide.
Yeah,
I did start to feel bad, you know. But it was, you know, because at the end of the day, nothing's been like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I struggle talking about that guy because I've got so many opinions, but I don't want to
yeah.
get roped into all the
That's cool.
bollocks.
Well, you've said enough, my man. One thing I have to ask you is, are you looking to get back into acting?
Oh yeah, for sure, mate. I've got a couple of things booked up for the summer.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
two short films booked in the summer, which is fucking sick. I'm reshooting show reels soon.
What's
I've
that?
got show reels are basically on. So actors have a thing called Spotlight, which is the casting hub for casting directors to go through a catalogue of actors and to pick people that they look like they
A
want. And then,
website?
yeah, it's a website. Yeah. But you can only have a Spotlight account if you've got 3 professional credits, or you've been to an accredited drama school and you've completed your degree and got representation essentially. Um, and so I'm just basically in the process of refreshing all of my acting stuff. I also wrote a scene as well, that I'm going to do for the show reel, and the show reel is around 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes max of just a compilation of different performances to showcase the casting directors that they can um,
Yeah.
they can see what you can do. But yeah, man, acting's still on the cards. I basically just I've come home for a rest, basically, just to have some normalcy in my life, because I went to London and I lived in London for 8 years, 7 years,
Yeah.
you know, give or take, COVID time. But and my life was up here all of the time, you know,
Yeah.
and it's very like this, and it's exhausting, and the
Yeah.
dopamine, it fries your dopamine, because when you
Yeah.
go from that lifestyle to home,
Yeah.
and you've got all this spare time, and you're not out all the time, and you're not meeting famous people, and you're not fucking going to events, it's like, you know, what the fuck? It's a culture shock. So I'm just embracing a bit of normal, like, Matrix shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
am fully in
No,
the
man.
Matrix.
Yeah, I completely respect it. And by talking to you right now, I truly understand that it was needed for yourself. And
Oh,
no matter what comes next, you'll be better prepared for it for this period right now in your life. And I completely respect you,
and
man.
that's a lesson, yeah, that I try to get out there as well. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot grow as a man if you go throughout your life coasting like this. You know, in order for you to
Yeah.
really grow and really experience fucking true growth, you have to
Yeah.
absolutely shed your skin. I don't
Yeah.
remember the guy I used to be.
Yeah.
Seriously, when I
Mm.
see videos of me when I was doing this with the Paul Breach stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't recognize that person, and it's kind
Yeah.
of sad, really. But like, you've got to embrace it, and I think that's
I
an important
yeah,
lesson.
completely relate to it, lad. Running around Mexico, shooting videos to driving Amazon vans,
Yeah,
real
yeah,
estate in Dubai to driving
yes,
Amazon vans.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy, but and I look back at that, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's just
The one,
crazy.
the thing that I've always had mad respect for you is, bro, is you're living proof of someone that will get up, grind for a period, and then go and try something, fail,
Mm.
come back, get up, and fucking try something else. It's just that's what I mean by real growth.
Yeah,
Like going through, like for me, for example, you know, as an actor, bro, I've done about 200 auditions. I got one
yeah,
job. I failed
mm,
every step of the way, and I quit, and I left my agent a few, like 2 months ago, you know,
yeah,
and I've right now I've failed. I'm in the,
yeah,
I've failed period, and I'm in the building blocks. I'm in the period where I'm putting the building blocks back on, so then try something else, you know, and I think a lot of people, our brains stop us from even trying before we've even thought of the idea, and because fear of failure. And I think we need to scratch that as much as we can, and embrace failure, because that's where you experience true growth and shit, you know.
well, the more I failed, the less I've been scared to fail again, bro.
Yeah, you
Like,
just realize it doesn't matter.
I just booked a month towards the Lake District. Wasn't too cheap, to be honest, just to start making TikToks and stuff. And like going back there now, going back to my parents' house now and getting a delivery job again, it won't compare to coming back from Dubai or Mexico. It's just like the more you do, the less it hits. So
Hmm.
man, I appreciate your time today. Just before we go,
Yeah, man.
what can when you're scrolling through your For You page, hopefully not too often anymore because you're in this boundaries personal growth stage, but
Mm.
I'm really glad to see it. What kind of content comes up?
That's such a good question. Do you know what? I get a lot of funny stuff. Like a lot of,
Yeah,
I'll watch compilations of like dogs, funny dogs. Um,
innocent that, bro.
you are.
Like, innocent that.
Yeah, seriously, and I'll sit
Yeah,
and watch it for hours because obviously during the day I don't really use my phone that much, and then in
yeah.
the evenings I go to the gym and I'll be on my phone, but I'm either filming or I'm looking at my program.
Mm.
And then in the evenings, once I get settled down and I chill, that's when I'll scroll. And so I'll just be laid in my bed giggling at stupid dogs or some gym videos, or like I'll just watch some of my favorite creators. Um, it is pretty innocent, and then you've also got the real intense philosophy stuff. Like I've got a lot of philosophical stuff on my timeline,
Mm.
and then like the deep sort of like relationship stuff, and it's like, you know,
Mm.
but I always press not interested on that stuff because I realized,
Try to, yeah.
yeah, when my For You page is tailored towards like kind of toxic mentality stuff that is marketed as positive mentality stuff,
Yeah, there's a
um
lot of it,
I
bro.
then I adopt this mentality of like, you know, all this fucking like, yeah, TikTok brain, bro. It's a real thing. So I tailor my For You page to stupid dogs and people I like watching.
I completely understand that, my man. I'll just wait for him to come back. One moment. Hello. Hello, he's back. All right, we're wrapping up soon now anyway. Just before we go, we made a piece of content a few years ago for my YouTube channel. It didn't come out, did it, man? Nah, I ended up just not editing it and getting rid of it. Though, looking back, that was some good content. We went
We went
to what
to
was
Winter Wonderland, didn't we?
Winter Wonderland, yeah, but
Yeah,
you're
high
in
five.
the middle of Winter Wonderland. I'm just asking you about, you know, some very interesting things, and I wish I still had that video, but I ended
Do you
up
know what? It's up
scrapping
here
that
though.
piece
It's
of
up
it.
here because I remember that as well. But I also remember we did a Never Getting Rid of Me video as well. Stood in the middle of Winter Wonderland on my main account. Just
So
two.
that's pretty much a TikTok dance as much as
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'll
We've done
post
a
it at
tick.
the end of the podcast, brother.
Yeah, do it,
But
do it, do it.
we're both in David Lloyd, man. It'd be good to come and link with you at some point.
Hundred
Um,
percent.
yeah, you look shocked, bro. You know,
Just because, like, whenever people are like, "What gym do you go to?" and I'm like, "David Lloyd," they're like, "Oh, what? You've got a David Lloyd membership? No way!" And then I'd never meet anyone else that's got a membership there. So it's like, yeah, it was just like, "Yeah, go on."
nah, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna last much longer than a year, to be honest, because my gym hasn't really improved throughout the years. But I know a lot of them are good, and I know a lot of people have a good lifestyle when they go there every day, especially with families and stuff.
Mm,
But
yeah,
it would be good to link up with you again at some point and
yeah, man.
make a YouTube video that comes out this time.
Yeah, we'll do. What we'll do is we'll do a training video, man, because I think, you know,
Yeah.
getting your personality across in the gym is a good laugh. You got a good banter, and I think it's just engaging as well, and it can be pretty informative as well. So I'm happy to. Well, yeah, I'd like to find a nice one that we can both
Yeah.
go to.
That's a good idea. We'll meet in the middle.
Yeah, mate.
And plus, bro, be honest, I've put a bit of weight on, haven't I, since last time?
Mate, you lose pounds when you're on the camera. Now, when I was at drama school, they used to say the camera adds £10 and that, so I used to struggle looking at my face. But we'll get that off you straight away, bro. We'll strip it down.
My man. Well, guys, thank you for watching. That was the first episode of the Zac Jones Podcast. James Morrell, a guy I truly respect. And one more thing I want to say about this guy is when I was around him and hearing what he was saying, you know, off his TikTok, because I met him on TikTok and then I got to know him off TikTok. I respected him a whole lot more because I knew that he was such a genuine guy with the best of intentions. And my man, I wish you the best of luck in the next few months in this 9-to-5 job, getting your head straight, getting focused on the future. You're going to smash it, my man.
I appreciate that, man. And genuinely, I feel really blessed and lucky that I get to be the first guest on your podcast, bro. So I'm just going to plaster it everywhere once it's out. You just give me the word.
Clip it up, bro. Clip it up if you 100%. Like. I'm sure there's some clips there. Am I right to clip everything?
Do whatever you like, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, brother. Take care.
You too, man. Nice to see you, bro.
Take care, my man. That was amazing. See you in a bit.